Thanks very much for the invitation down. The Surat Basin, what I'll go through over tonight is just the basics on the Surat Basin, the impact that they're having on the area because of the mining, some housing solutions, and another project we do, some industrial land. So just flip to the next one. When we look at the Surat Basin, this has come out of the AEC report done by the state government. So some of this stuff's done in 2007. There's some figures have been upgraded since for a conference that they held out there in August last year. But the whole area, when they talk about it, comes nearly all the way to Bundaberg, out here and back to the border. The study area in this report was actually this smaller area in here. When you look at the Surat Basin itself, is that clear or is it miles? Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So you got Miles, Roma out here to the west, Miles, Chinchilla's right on the corner here, Dalby back here. The Surat Basin is actually only about 50 kilometres wide here. This is the open cut coal resource. Runs through maybe 100k, but for 200 kilometres long. When you look at the Bowen Basin, which we've all heard about, the Bowen Basin hanging off of Gladstone, Rockhampton, Mackay, Townsville, all that area up there, that's 600 kilometres by 600 kilometres square. It's got 23 actual coal mines. When you start talking to towns, you've got Townsville probably well over 100, Mackay's hitting on 100,000 people. That's how big some of these towns have got. We'll actually show you shortly how many coal leases are in this Surat Basin. A coal mine in the Bowen Basin wouldn't average 20,000 tonnes of coal per annum. And we're talking, like, they wouldn't even average 10,000 tonnes per coal because it's mainly underground, so you can imagine that and it's a coking coal as well, so it's for making steel. Our coal in this basin is thermal coal, so it's for energy. So for all the coal mines that are going to come forward in the future, like one of the statistics is there's only 600 nuclear power stations in the whole world. And they're saying, in the latest announcement I've seen on Xstrata, on their coal mine, they're saying for the power's been around 100 years, in the next 10 years we've got to increase the demand for power will increase by 40% in 10 years alone across the world. So that means more coal, more gas, more wind power, more sun power, more nuclear, but it's going to have to come from coal because it's the cheapest and the quickest delivery of all. So that's the open cut coal reserve. Then it's the gas that hangs around that coal, like the old canary and the coal, like over you used to hear about. So that's the latest technology, is the coal seam methane gas of getting the coal at a depth. So we mine the open cut coal from zero to 100, 150 metres. Another process being UCG, underground coal gasification, where they burn it, turn it into a syngas, power station, diesel, aircraft fuel. That's done at, say, 200 to 300 metres. And then the gas that you hear about, like Origin, all of these big companies, the coal seam methane gas and this LNG that they're talking about, that's from, say, 500 metres to 1.5 kilometre deep, and they pull it out of the ground. So we'll go to the next slide. So there's quite a lot of drivers in the area to, it's just coal mining, so the export and the power sales for power stations in our own area, the gas for domestic and export, the UCG is that underground coal gasification, power either by coal-fired power stations or gas-fired power stations. A byproduct of the coal seam gas is water. There's enough water coming out of the ground to fill the Sydney Harbour every 4 years. It's a good problem to have. So like Origin's just doing what they call a reverse osmosis plant at the moment, and they're millions and millions over budget, but it's their waste product, they've got to do something with it. One company's just won a tender with them. They're closing the whole business in Mount Isa and bringing their whole business and all their staff. They've told them come and buy houses, which they're doing. They'll be starting there. They've got to build 10 dams, 500 metres by 500 metres by 5 metres deep, just for the clean water, and let it evaporate. So, crazy, but yeah, they've got a 4-year job to build, to move 10 million cubic metres of dirt. And that's one job. So there's just so many jobs after jobs after jobs that we'll have. The railway line, the Southern Inland Missing Link. So we'll flick on and I'll show
Warren,
you.
can I just interrupt you for a minute? So all these factors in one area, like Chinchilla, Dalby, Miles that we're talking about, even if one or two of these weren't operating at the time, the other 4 or 5 things there are actually still driving that area in terms of growth. Is that right?
Right. For example, like a year ago, there was $82 billion worth of projects to go forward in the next 5 years potentially. Then it jumped within 3 months. The mayor announced it's up to 110. At a conference in August, it was at 162. 2 weeks ago, Xstrata announced they were going from 30 million tonnes to 100 million tonnes, and they'd spend an extra $15 billion. So it's 175 billion. Extra over their old budget, an extra 15 billion. So we're at $175 billion worth of projects, and that's in the next 5 to 7 years. Again, we only want the scraps off the table. That's all we want. So yeah.
Good.
The key drivers, the open cut coal, the coal. That's an LNG factory somewhere in the world. Australia's already done some LNG freight already out of the northern end and on the west coast. Next one. So this report back in 2007 quoted 4.1 million tonnes of thermal coal resource. It's already up to 6.3 and they're drilling already. But they drilled 2 kilometres, 2 kilometres.